everyone. Chris J. here from Blue Co Foundation. On today's Fallen But Not Forgotten podcast, I sit down with Sarah Patterson. Sarah has a very interesting story. Although not unique in its nature, what is unique is her unrelenting fight to keep her job against false accusations. Sarah served for 12 years in Los Angeles as an officer, detective, and a field sergeant. Today, Sarah continues her fight. For specifics about her battle to keep her job, I listed a couple of interviews where she details her experience. However, on this podcast interview, we focused on how she handled the struggles and stressors of being let go unjustly from an agency she took pride in. Sarah's an amazing human being. Her focus on her faith, her family, her health, and her career give her a strength that is very commendable on so many levels. She even started her own podcast called After the Storm Podcast, which is very inspiring. Thank you for listening and supporting what we do. I hope you enjoy this podcast with Sarah Patterson. You know, based on what you've been through, a lot of coppers across the country could relate on one way or another. And I always try to kind of just look at the deeper meanings that happen, kind of the output, you know, like years later when you look back, like what can we learn? What can we share here so that other people could listen and learn from it, even though we're still going through it, you know? Mm-hmm. So one of the things that, you know, I was thinking about stuff because I've also been through stuff. I think I'm not ready to share it until I'm fully retired.
Yeah.
You know, but
gotta be careful.
100%. You know, you gotta be careful, but you know, things that are almost obviously lies, I guess, that it can't prove. So, you know, but, and they just kind of seem to be things that like ruin offshore lives when it seems like we don't need this stuff, right. You know? And there seems to be, after you go through it all, like this sense of betrayal that we go through. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking that a lot with what I went through kind of maybe about 5 years ago or whatnot. And I'm just curious what you think. Do you think we are being betrayed by a police department that we love and have pride in? Or are we betrayed by more of like our idea of what we think the department owes us?
I think it's twofold. So, like I said, I'm very honored to be here. Number one, I have done a few podcasts now, and one of the ones I did was with Team South Florida, and they do kind of something similar to what you do.
Okay.
And he brought up a good point that I'd never heard before. And he said, what it's called is a moral injury. When someone goes through this, it's called a moral injury, which is that sense of betrayal where we believe as officers that the department puts in as much effort as we put into the department. So when you find out that in fact that is not true, it's a moral injury. It hurts your sense of morals, right? Because you have given so much to this department. You've sacrificed your holidays, your weekends, your time with friends and family, probably lost relationships, and which you knew going into the job that that's part of it, right? And then to go through something that you didn't deserve and that very department that you dedicated so much to hurts you. And they basically say, well, we don't believe you. You don't deserve to be here anymore. Bye. And shows you out the door. So yeah, I do think that it's both what, how the officer portrays the department or what they expect of the department. I think that that perception is what is injured. So people are very naive in saying, okay, the department's got my back. I'm going to do the right thing, right? They tell us that in the academy. If you always tell the truth and you do the right thing, you're always going to be okay. And then you find out later down the road, you lied to me. I did the right thing and I got fired, or I was benched, or I was kicked out of this unit, or whatever the degree of punishment was for that person. In my case, I was fired. Yeah. So you look back at it and think, why did I give so much to that place? Because you have this false sense of the department has my back, which is it's incorrect thinking. I'm not sure if I answered your question completely because there was two questions, and I think it kind of blended them. What was the?
No, it's like are we being betrayed by the department, or are we? What did I write?
It was like about the perception. So it was like, is the department actually betraying us, or is
Or is
it?
it just like a false idea we have that they owe us anything? Like, are we
It's a
are
false
we
idea.
entitled, or is the department failing us?
It's both for sure. But it's also the latter. It's also officers have this vision of the department has my back and they feel betrayed when the department's existence
Mm-hmm.
is not for the officer, it's for the community, right? And the department betrays officers every single day because you go into this thinking, I want to serve the community, the department's going to have my back. And then when in fact you start to realize as you get time on, even if you don't have time on, people that are officer probationers, they learn that there's so much politicized decisions
Mm-hmm.
in what happens. So yes, the department does betray the officers, but also yes, these officers have a, an incorrect perception. They should not go into it thinking, I'm going to do what they tell us in the academy. You do the right thing all the time, you tell the truth, and you do what we teach you to do, you're going to be fine. Because you're not always going to be
It
fine.
seems like there's, I don't know if it's on purpose, but there's some kind of trickery there because they try to instill pride,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you have pride for an organization that you have to worry about all the time? Or and I just want to more look internally, like what can we do as individual coppers to not be so angry or mad, or live with that pride of in this profession, and not like hate the department so much, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
damn, when I first started, I was an explorer, so it was all about LAPD as a teenager, right?
Oh yeah.
And then you get on and you see all these things, and it just starts kind of eating away at you. You end up loving your coworkers, and at your station, the things you go through, you make lifelong friends. I don't know. I mean, I've been around the country, the police unity tour. I see other communities how much they support their coppers,
Mm-hmm.
even internally in a lot of places. But I've had a I've done a lot of effort within myself to just not carry around so much hate.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see friends and coworkers constantly going through it, it's difficult.
Yeah. Well, I think hate doesn't come from God, right? So that feeling of hate comes from the other side. And it's hard to not be disgruntled. So I know you know a little bit about my background, but after I was a probationer and I was fired the first time, I came back to, and I was wheeled to 77th, which I was so privileged to be there. And I was happy to have my job back and start this 30-year long career, or
Yeah.
so I thought. And when I found out that, oh, your complaint's not over, now you're going to take 15-day suspension.
Yeah.
I took my suspension days and got shingles on my suspension because I was so stressed.
That's crazy.
And I came back and I had this attitude, this disgruntled, hateful, angry attitude, just like you're saying. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why? I just went through all of this. I told the truth. I did nothing wrong. They even overturned my termination because they know I didn't lie about anything, but
Mm-hmm.
they're still hammering me with a misleading statement. And so I had this horrible, horrible attitude. And I was brand new. I was
Yeah.
brand new on the job. And it's like, people probably looked at me like, well, you know nothing. Like, why are you disgruntled? You know what I mean? You've been through nothing until they realize what I've been through. But
Yeah.
what you have to do is make a conscious decision that you cannot let these bad things affect who you are or how you treat other people. Because you cannot control sometimes what happens to you, but you can control how you respond to that. And so for me, the solution just happened by happenstance was I said, you know what? I'm not going to be miserable. And that's not my nature or my character. I'm a very happy person. I care about others. I care deeply and probably too much about others. And I put a fake smile on my face every
Mm-hmm.
single day. I said, I'm going to just smile, even though I'm not happy inside. And because what I found is that when you smile at somebody, it's contagious and people smile back. And over time, that fake smile turned into a real smile. And I was happy and I loved my job. And it's not, and so this is, I think, a takeaway from this too. Going back to that original question about the department betraying you, you know, it's not so much, this is why it's kind of like a two, like both, it's yes to both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the department is an institution. right? And the institution itself is fails. It fails a lot. But the people that you work with
Yeah.
make up that institution. Those are the ones that make you love the job. You know, it's like you work this unit. Everyone tells you, you know, you're on a watch, right? Watch 7. That was always my favorite watch, mid PMs. And we felt like
Was it a 312?
nope, 410s.
Oh,
My
man,
favorite.
I'm a slave to the 312.
Oh gosh, 410s all day. I could do them all day. And we were like a little unit. And I
Mhm.
remember we had the best supervisors. We had the best Sergeant 2. We had the best field supervisors. We had the best P3s. It was just the best time at
Yeah,
77.
those mid watches, they usually have a smaller amount of officers, and you see each other more because you're in a 410.
Right,
So
right.
it becomes, yeah, it's
And you just had this like bond, right? And so I remember wanting to like go to gangs and go to Metro and do all this stuff. And like, but at the time it was like, but I don't want to leave this. You know, I don't want to. And what someone told me with time on said, enjoy what you have while you have it because leadership is always changing, officers are always moving, and it's not going to be like this forever. So it was always that, you know, when you were in that moment of like having this camaraderie with your watch and you had a good time and you were hustling in the streets and you were like, you know, who's going to get a gun first today? Or,
yeah.
you know, one of my buddies, he works Olympic now. We would have this competition in roll call to see who can get their badge shiny. Like we would just sit there in roll call and just polish, see who could get their badge shiny. I mean, little things like that. And so I think the betrayal side of it, it's like the institution's going to betray you. I mean, it's looking at like a government. It's like equivalent to you trusting the government to do the right thing. Like the department in a whole as an institution is not going to do the right thing, right? They're going to put politics first or what's financially correct or what's politically correct before the actual individual. But the people that you work with, that's, I think, where it hurts more. When those people that you thought were friends or you thought had your back and you go through something like this and it's like, stay away from her. That's what I think hurts more.
It seems like, you know, we are told to, you know, obviously never lie, seek the truth, but that truth is not reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
So going through what you've been through, betrayed, hurt, put through the ringer, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of advice would you give, let's say, a younger copper out there who does not want to lose that passion to help, but is worried about another complaint because they want to promote, and if a fake complaint is there, then you know they won't get the next spot or whatnot, and now all of a sudden you have this copper who has great potential,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just like, I'm, you know, blinders, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody who's kind of stuck in the middle there.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And it's funny because if you would have asked me this question about a year ago, I would have had a completely different answer.
I'm sure. That's why you're here, because
Yeah.
of the stuff you've been through, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so it's funny because I'm very deep in my faith, and you come on the job, I would say stay grounded in God. If your job, you want to come on the job and you want to make a difference and you love your job and you want to, you know, do good in this community, keep doing it. I mean, God's got your back. You can't avoid it sometimes. You cannot avoid getting a complaint. And are people targeted all the time? No. I can't sit here and say that every complaint turns into some targeted investigation, right? So I wouldn't sit there and be worried, watching over your back all the time. I would be watching my back all the time because I've just been through too much and said too much. But the younger cop that sees the other people that go through it, of course, you want to make sure, like, a couple things. Don't violate policy. I mean, that's like number one. You know, I've read a lot of complaints since I've been helped a lot of people from different agencies, not just LAPD.
Yeah.
But a lot of the issues are self-inflicted, right? It's like, why didn't you just activate your body horn? Like, why did you have a late one? Like, why? It's like, well, you know, I don't know. It's like, well, let's not start with that kind of thing. So I would say, number one, just do it by the book, right? You're still going to probably get a complaint because that's the nature of the job, right? Especially in LA, where it's a zero tolerance complaint intake policy, right?
Mhm.
Somebody says, I want a complaint, then you got to take a complaint. So you're not going to avoid that. But you cannot let the fear of something that hasn't happened yet dictate the future of your career. Always understand that there is a potential for that. But I think if and when you get into that position, it's knowing who to contact. I would say when it comes to a complaint and you think that it might escalate to something more, I would say before you just settle with somebody saying, oh, use this attorney, your attorney matters. And that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Is like, you're not going to avoid a complaint, but your attorney matters. You can't just use anybody. That's number one. Number two, don't ever think, oh, I'll just go do an interview without a rep. I'm good.
Right.
You're not good.
Right.
And I don't think that people know enough about the complaint system.
100%.
Even people that I've talked to with 25 years on,
Mhm.
they're like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. You know, there's a lot of things that I have learned. I've become quite the expert
Yeah.
on the process. I mean,
Unfortunately.
you know, I represented myself for a writ of mandate in court. You know, I've done a lot of things to fight for myself, right? But I would say it's important to remember why you came on the job. Stay focused and grounded in God. Let Him lead you. And I think that's what is missing so much from our department, especially these leaders, because it's become so focused on my promotion, my career, my advances, instead of, you know, we are a team. I keep saying we, but you guys are a team. You know, it's like this is a team that has a common goal
You could say we.
to make to make a difference in our community, to make, what does it say on the side of the car? To protect and to serve.
Yeah.
Right? That is the common goal. And I think that people have strayed so far from that because of their own self-interests
Mm-hmm.
that people are now afraid of what's going to happen to them because somebody in a higher position wants to promote, right? I mean, I looked at the most recent promotional transfer, and I got sick to my stomach to see some of the names on there. I'm not going to name anybody. Don't worry, I'm not going to get you in trouble.
You could
But-
say what you want.
No. You don't you don't need that. But it's true. I see some of the names and I think, wow, like that scares me, and I'm not even on the job, right? It's
Yeah.
like I would say yes, be knowledgeable of who is who and don't violate policy. You know, you're going to make the mistake here and there, right? Of course, especially learning as a cop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you came on with no body worn. I came on with no body worn or DICV.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these officers are now coming on with it. So there's really no excuse. It's like, you guys come on with this. There's no like, oh, I didn't know, you know, I'm not used to it.
Right.
And so I would say, I don't know what because that's the common thing that I've seen with a lot of newer cops and their complaints. And again, not just LAPD, other agencies where it's like, well, I just didn't, you know, I forgot. Or I turned it off and I never turned it back on.
Seems like a lot of, I don't see it much anymore, but during the transition from no body worn to body worn, there was a lot of finding creative ways to not turn on the body worn
Yeah.
camera.
Right.
And I get it. I felt it. A lot of anger. I mean, I was enjoying it because now you could capture all these crazy things, you
Yeah.
know, and but now it seems, I don't know, it seems like the younger culture is kind of eating the younger culture. So what upsets me now is, I mean, I think you're using the body worn as an example, right? Of
Right.
something
Just
we
an
do.
example.
But that just
Correct.
brings up something in my mind about mindset, where I see coppers when there's a quick tactical situation, they worry more about their body worn than going for their gun.
Right.
And it's not just like a natural, you know, tap, you know, double tap and then go. It's just that they turn the camera on. That's the initial reaction that they don't think about.
Mhm.
But I'm like, why aren't you grabbing your gun yet? What's going
Right.
on?
Mm-hmm.
You haven't thought about grabbing your gun, but you did this right away.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
And see, that's what I blame the department on, because
Yeah.
they, again, that's a very good point, because, you know, I'm sitting here saying, like, I mean, not in those kind of situations. I'm saying like on a regular call, but the department has instilled so much fear that if you do not activate, you're going to get a complaint.
Yeah.
Right. And so these younger coppers are thinking, well, I got to activate. Well, that delay here could have just cost them their life instead of getting their gun out. Right.
Yeah.
And so to your point, it's like the department has failed us, or failed, you know, the officers in that sense, where it's like you have instilled so much fear about a 128 that they would rather double tap to turn on their body worn than grab their gun first.
Oh, I get so much anxiety watching these videos on
It is
YouTube.
awful. Oh yeah, it's awful. And
Yeah.
like you'd like to sit here and say like, who cares? Come on, like shake them and be like, just grab your gun first. Don't worry about this. Let the complaint ride.
Yeah.
Because truly, I mean, again, hindsight's 2020. I would have done a lot
Yeah.
of things differently, but truly, who cares? This body worn,
Yeah.
it's gonna fall off probably anyways.
Yeah.
Don't activate that. Worry about your life first, or not even your life. The person that needs help, or
Yeah.
your partner.
Or just sound tactics.
Right.
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 So
It's just
the
that
camera. The
simple.
camera is not tactics, but it's become paramount.
Mhm.
It's
But
become
think
paramount.
about it. There's cameras everywhere. Even if your body worn didn't get it, your partners probably did, or the car camera got it, or the one on the building, or you know, Big Brother overhead. You know,
Right.
it's like there's a million cameras. It's gonna get the shot. Do
Yeah.
not worry about this. And
Yeah.
I think that's where these the department and these political figures have instilled so much fear in people. They fear the 128. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. But
Okay.
grab your gun first.
You wake up tomorrow and you are the chief of police.
Mm-hmm.
What for LAPD? What 3 things do you change right away? Right away.
Wow, that's a loaded question.
Right away. In order to alleviate all these things that we've experienced. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
The very first thing I would do. Oh gosh, there's a lot of things I would do. The very first thing I would do is downsize internal affairs.
Mm-hmm.
And I would let supervisors have discretion on when they can take a complaint. That's one thing.
Okay.
Okay, so IA and complaints.
All right.
Let supervisors use their discretion. If they can unfound a complaint right then and there, they can log it. And I would downsize IA to probably to a quarter of what it is and make them go work the field. Because they're hurting for supervisors, right? Number 2, I would definitely downgrade some people that are in current positions.
All right.
And put them at a patrol division so they can actually learn the patrol functions. Because these people in these building positions have been in the building probably their whole career.
Mm-hmm.
They got to go learn patrol. So there would be a lot of movement. And it would be merit-based.
Yeah.
And I know that's really hard to do, but I would love a merit-based promotion system.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's so many issues, right? Like it's not ever going to be perfect, but I think the testing oral formula has failed the department.
Yeah.
I truly do. I do. Those are the 3 things I would do.
So IA
in the complaint system would be revamped, restructure.
Downgrade a bunch of people, specific people.
Not specific people, like
Just,
I
got you.
It's
Sorry.
kind of the idea that your current chief had said when he first came in that he I heard that he had people write resumes and explain why they should be in their current position.
Interesting.
Right? That same thing, but I don't think anything ever happened with that. I'm not sure. But I did hear that was supposed to happen.
There's so much going on in that position, though.
Yeah.
We have time for that.
But that would be something that I would actually probably
and then the
do.
merit-based thing.
Yes. I wouldn't just be like, you're fired. I'm not Trump, But it would be explain your worth.
I can already see how even just the first steps in that on your first day as chief would be like, holy shit, things are changing already, Like,
oh, yeah.
So.
I mean, imagine a department where the people that you put in positions to supervise cops, you actually trust them and give them the opportunity and trust and confidence to take or not take a complaint.
Yeah.
Think about how that would affect, how trickle down and how effective your officers would be.
Seems like a very fear-based system as a whole.
It is a fear-based. It is a very fear-based system.
It doesn't work too well.
Mm-mm.
Tell me about your transitioning from street cop to no cop in the blink of an eye. Maybe, I mean, you don't have to get too personal, but just stuff that people who might now be in that current position or looking at that. I mean, I know a few who are pending boards, and now that you've been through it and might still be going through it, that void when your pride and your, who you were as a person was here, and then all of a sudden it turned off. Tell me about some of your maybe scariest moments, darkest moments that you would be willing to share and how you got through them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm an open book. I share it all. So when I was first relieved, I was 6 months pregnant. So no pay, no health insurance. That was very hard.
Wow. They
So
were just like, oh
they were
well.
like, bye. Yeah, I'll never forget it. The captain that relieved me had a big smile on his face, big pregnant belly. He was so happy. Never forget it. Ingrained in my head forever. Very evil.
That's okay.
Yeah, it
I'll
was.
let you tell your story.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So it was very challenging because what was I going to do for work? I've never not worked in my life. Since I was 15 and a half, I got my work permit, and I've worked ever since I was 15 and a half years old. And I couldn't go be a security guard. I couldn't do anything. I was pregnant. I couldn't go
Well,
get a
you
new
could have
career.
if you wanted to. No,
Oh yeah,
I'm joking.
totally. People are like, she's gonna, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that was hard. It was
Mhm.
very hard. Having a baby, I went through, it was a dark time. Let's just put it that way. My husband and I were in escrow on a house. We had just given up the lease on our condo and lost the house we were in escrow with, lost the condo because they had refilled this, the occupancy.
No job.
No job, sole reliance on, my husband, and we had to move in with my parents.
Okay.
So, it was a very dark time. I went from making a lot of money, being very comfortable, very confident, to making zero and living with my parents at 30 something, 38 years old, 37 years old, however old I was. And it was very hard. I mean, I had to make a conscious decision. I'm pregnant. I do not want this department to affect me so badly that it's going to affect my child. And I have 3 other boys with my previous marriage. And I said, again, like I had moments of crying by myself in the car, or I don't like people see me cry at all because I don't know what it is. I have too much pride, maybe. I don't know. I like to cry in peace. And I had moments where I needed to go take a drive, go cry. And I just was like, what is happening? Why is this happening again to me? But now I have children. Now I have like a lot more than I did as a P1. And you go through these moments of feeling worthless, and all the bad things just enter your head, and you just fill your head with all these negative thoughts. And I mean, I went through this whole scenario of, man, questioning my own integrity so when I read my LOT, it was painful.
What's LOT?
Oh, it's the letter of transmittal. So it's the final disposition of your complaint with the recommendation of what's going to happen next.
Okay.
So mine was Board of Rights. And I read it, and there was a whole page in there about like what a piece of shit I was, essentially. It was like, she has a pattern because of my P1 incident.
Yeah.
She's unable to be rehabilitated. She has no integrity, doesn't deserve to wear the badge, doesn't deserve to be a supervisor. I read this whole thing and just like, it broke me. It broke me because I'm like, man, I just made Sergeant of the Year in 2020 as a boot sergeant. I got promoted to detective. I had a great reputation. And wow, like, who is this person? And then you start to think, like, is this true? Is this really, like, maybe I was just so naive and blinded to who I was. So you go through this whole, downward spiral. And then after I had my son, who's almost 4 now, and I just focused on him. And without my children, I will tell you, without my children and my strength to make sure that they would never see me broken, I don't know where I'd be. So I had to, I made that conscious decision I'm not going to let this ruin me, but did it in my alone times? Of course. I'll never forget what changed things around for me mentally. I did the carnivore diet. I'm very, I do very well when I'm disciplined. If I have a schedule, if I have a routine, work on my workouts, I work out, 4 or 5 times a week still. And I started carnivore and it was the lion diet, which is red meat, salt, pepper,
that's it,
butter, and water for 30 days.
That's it.
That's all you eat.
How many times a day?
You eat when you're hungry and eat till you're full. It's very simple.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, and for whatever reason, those 30 days, it's like, it just opened things up for me and changed my entire perspective on things. And it gave me that motivation to fight because I still had to go through a board. but there were, I mean, it was peaks and valleys. You know, I had moments of like, okay, I got this. I'm strong. I can get through this. And then I went through my board. And again, I'm not going to mention like who the attorney is because I don't like to bash people, but
Yeah.
I had a bad attorney. Like, and, it sucks because I thought that he had my back and I thought he was great and I liked him as a person.
Yeah.
And there was a lot that went wrong with my board, right? And so that he didn't do. And I got fired. And at first I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm at peace. You know, you go through these peaks and valleys where I'm like, I'm at peace, whatever. And then you leave and you go home and you're alone for a minute and then it hits you and you're like, man, I really do suck. I mean, all this negative self-talk just like came back, right? It was like everybody thinks I'm a liar. I was fired for a false statement. And it's like everyone thinks I'm a liar. How do you prove to people that you didn't lie?
Yeah.
You know, when you have this pattern. And that was hard. So there were moments of like grief. And it's so, and what I've realized is like you're grieving that loss of that person, right? It's like you feel like part of your soul died because you like whether you want to or not, your part of your identity is in being a police officer. You change so much, and only other police will understand that, right? I mean, so much of who you were was a police officer. And now that's all gone from you. You're not a police officer anymore. And then it's like, well, what am I going to do for a job? Like, what being a police officer doesn't always easily especially a fired police officer for lying. Like, how does that translate? You know, granted, I had my degree in chemistry, but I haven't done anything with chemistry since since I graduated in 2005 or however long ago that was. It's like, what am I going to do with a degree in chemistry now? You know, I owned a business, but I gave that up to be a cop. So there's just so many different things where it's like, what are you going to do? I didn't know what I wanted to do again.
Yeah.
So I got my real estate license, and it's kind of this like journey of trying to find out what you like and what you don't like. And, you know, so the whole breaking point for me and was I had to fire my attorney. He was going to do the writ of mandate for me. So a writ of mandate is an appeal to an administrative decision. So when you lose the Board of Rights and you want to fight it, the process in court is called the writ of mandate. And the league will pay for it if they agree to it. So you have to do basically a petition, and you do a presentation and request the league to fund your writ. And the league agreed to fund mine. So that same attorney was representing me. Well, during this process of being fired and trying to like advocate for myself, I met Mario Munoz, who runs the Blue Ribbon Center. He's a retired lieutenant with LAPD, amazing man. And he told me, you need to fire your lawyer and represent yourself if you want a chance to win this. He said, if he represents you, you will lose. So then it took me like 6 months because I was like, I don't want to
It's like a breakup.
It is like a breakup, but not only a breakup with your lawyer, I already knew what was going to happen with the department, the league, the attorney, and I knew what was going to happen. I was scared.
And what was that?
The backlash, the major backlash, which did happen.
Of firing your attorney.
Yes, because he's the best, right? He's the department's golden boy, and I fired him. And I sent, a 3-page letter to the league and to him requesting a new attorney, and the league politely and professionally told me to fuck off. I'm sorry, I really try not to cuss a lot, but it's really hard sometimes when I talk about this stuff. But they just were like, best of luck to you. Our your contract, our contractual obligation is now over. Good luck.
I wonder how they make those decisions.
I think it's based on who you use, who you know. I don't know, because it's like I just pointed out 3 pages of things that he did wrong that could have changed the outcome of this.
Yeah.
And instead of like getting me a new attorney, you're like, bye.
Okay.
So, that was, and I knew that was going to happen. So shortly after that, I was like, what did I do?
Yeah.
So much doubt. Like, I have to represent myself in court. Are you kidding me? And I cried, and I will never forget this. I thought I was like doing so good mentally, right? I thought like, I've got this, I'm strong, I can, I'm good, I've overcome so much. And I broke down and lost it. I dropped to my knees and I finally prayed and I said, God, why are you doing this to me? Right. And I like just sobbed for hours, just sobbed. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And, I got over it. And God gave me the strength to get up and just, all right, are you done now? You ready to do work? All right, get up and do your work. And it was at that moment that I realized that I had strayed so far from my faith that that's what was missing, was my faith, was me talking to God. And it was like, it's almost like he was telling me, pray, come back to me, pray to me. So I'm going to make it really hard and force your hand. And I did. I dropped to my knees, I cried, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I asked him why. And it gave me whatever strength I needed to figure it out. How do I do this? How do I do that? I need to get a continuance. How do I do this? And I did it. With the help of Mario, we did my opening brief. The department does their opposition brief, and then you do a reply brief. And in the middle of all of this, I randomly met this attorney, Nicole Castronovo, and she said, what if I pinch hit for you? Like finish the moving papers, which is the written stuff. And for a writ of mandate, you have a trial date. And that's the one day where you do your oral arguments and the judge decides if he's gonna agree with you or he's gonna agree with the department. And I was like, you know what? I prayed because I'm like, I don't know who this person is. Like, I don't know. I've done so much. I might as well just do it myself. But I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And I thought, God put this person in my life for a reason. I'm going to trust him.
How'd you find that person?
Instagram. She found me.
Oh.
It was just so funny.
Okay.
She saw one of a picture I'd posted, and it was me. I held up my writ of mandate, and it said pro per. Everything was blurred out. And she sent me a message and asked me, I thought the league funded your writ. And I said, they did. She's like, I thought you had an attorney. And I said, I did. And she said, so why are you representing yourself pro per? And so I asked her, how much time do you have? Yeah. So we scheduled a call, and that's when we spoke. And she said, what if I pinch it for you and just argue it for you? You do all the other stuff. I said, sure. So we get to court, and,
all these court terminology.
I know. I'm telling you.
But I think it's important for people to hear it, to know. Yeah.
It really is. It's what I'm saying. Like, these are important things that I had to learn on my own, essentially. Obviously with the help of Mario, because he knew. But I mean, I still, like, he knows the terms, but he hasn't filed these things. You know what I mean? So it's like, he's like, I'm relying on you. He's like, let me know so I can help other people, right?
I'm sorry to cut you off there.
No.
You guys made an agreement of how to approach it.
Yeah.
Okay. And
so she, the night before your trial, you get a tentative ruling from the judge. He gives his answer, basically tentatively.
Before the trial?
Before the trial. So you know what to argue. Because he's basically saying, okay, I agree with you or I don't agree with you. So you have time to prepare. And he basically had 19 pages of you're staying fired, you suck.
Okay.
And so I was devastated. And Nicole told me, she's like, okay, well, I know it's very hard to overturn a tentative ruling. It really is. But let's make a really solid record for the appeal because we're going to appeal this. I'm like, okay. We go to court, and she was, I just, again, I put all my faith in God. I trusted him. She argued up there. And the judge initially started off pretty bad, just reading the tentative, that. He was almost calling me a liar, and I was like, God, this is great. Mm-hmm. And then Nicole did her thing. And the first count, I had told my previous attorney that it was out of statute. I don't know who's telling you that, but they're wrong. The judge finally, after he heard the arguments, was like, you know what? Count one is out of statute. We're throwing it out. Yeah. Just like that. Count one's gone. And then he gets to the false statement, and I'll never forget it, takes his glasses off, puts them down. He says, okay, I want to say something here. Can we all agree that nothing happened here? And it was the first time that I felt vindication of that's all I've ever wanted, because the people are treating me like I murdered somebody.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. The judge said not one person, not the officers, nobody committed any misconduct whatsoever.
Can I share a quick interjection
Oh,
story
please.
on my border rights, and I'm still not ready to share all the details
Mm-hmm.
on a platform like this, but it was a border rights for an OIS, and I had a panel of 3 civilians,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard them whisper to each other after things were brought up. They're like, "Why are we even here?" And I'm like, "That's
Thank
what I'm
you.
saying," you know,
Like,
like,
thank you.
yeah. So, and it turned out in a positive,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But
that
how good does it feel to get that vindication from a third party?
100%, because you think you're, to what you're saying, you think you're crazy.
Right.
Like, I guess I made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. That was an interesting moment in that border rights. So that was
Yeah.
like the turning point, right? So
Right.
yeah,
It's like you feel like, okay, I'm not crazy. Like
yeah,
I made the right choice, and
yeah,
somebody that matters, as
yeah,
not matters like family, but matters in a position to impact
yeah,
your career,
yeah,
agrees with you too.
yeah. Okay, so what happened from there? I keep interrupting.
No, it's fine. So, at the end of it, the judge said, "I've never had this in 40 years where I have a false statement where there is no intent to lie." So, his hang up was, the issue was this. So, I, being pro per, didn't argue the proper points, and so he told me, "I'm going to throw you a bone because you did represent yourself pro per and you didn't argue this point. So I'm going to remand you back to the department with no objection from the city attorney." And the city attorney said, "I have no objection, Your Honor. If all this was just an error."
Okay, I'm sorry. Um, I didn't go to college. Remand
Oh,
you back to the
yes,
department
I'm sorry.
means
Remand means they're going to send me back for a new board.
gotcha. Okay,
So his initial was to keep me fired. And the options for a writ of mandate are to reinstate me or to remand me is send you back for a new hearing. So remand is just give you back to the department.
feels like that sounds like a win,
It is a
right?
win. Mm-hmm.
But kind of cyclical where you're going to go right back to the same people who did the initial judgment on you.
Correct.
So how do you win that?
I'm in that stage. I go on
So
Tuesday.
is that the stage you're in now?
I'm in that stage. I go back to a board on Tuesday.
The steps I took before, because I know a lot of people haven't gone through it. So the step before the border rights is I was able to say I didn't agree with it. You do.
Skelly. It's a Skelly.
Is that what this is? Sorry,
Mhm.
I have it written
No,
down on my notes somewhere.
you're
but
good. It's a Skelly.
but
Mhm.
it's weird because it goes right back to the same person who made the decision.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm like, so why am I doing all this? Makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, so a Skelly typically, so it's funny because all other agencies except for LAPD allow an in-person. Well, you are allowed to. Your police officer bill of rights allows an in-person Skelly.
Yeah.
LAPD is the only one that does written, which is not right. Like they need to. You can petition to do an
Mhm.
in-person Skelly. That is your right as a police officer. 3303 or 3300. So the police officer bill of rights code. So the Skelly, yes, it goes back, but it's just basically your way of saying like this is why I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
And usually it doesn't get overturned. Sometimes you have somebody to advocate for you that will go in front of the chief personally. I know Craig Lally was a big advocate for officers. He would, if he believed in the complaint, he would take it
Yeah.
personally to the chief and try to fight for the officers. And Craig Lally has overturned a few Skellies. I'm sure more than a few. I don't know the actual number, but yeah, that is. But in the sense of I didn't know this. So when you get remanded back for a new hearing, I thought it's a whole. You get to pick a new board. But no, it goes. Those 3 people that fired you, those are the same people that hear it again.
That makes no sense.
It doesn't. But I will say when my board of rights, it wasn't a 3 to 0 vote. It was a 2 to 1. I had one person
Okay.
that said not guilty on everything. And it's called a dissenter. So I, again, that was also very like vindicating for me that at least somebody believed me
Yeah.
at the time, But so it goes back to those same people, and it does like again my faith has been so strengthened. I pray, I fill all those moments of silence and anxiety with talk to God. I just talk to God like He's sitting next to me, and it's really, really, really helped me get through all of this because without people always people tell me like I would be a mess. I don't know how you're okay, and I always tell them it's not me, it's God. because there's no way, I don't have the human strength to get through something like this, but God's giving me the strength. He's put me on this path for a purpose. And I have tried, that's why I do these podcasts. And I know, like, people that probably see them on the department are like, oh, she's just bitching and complaining about it. And it's truly not about that. Yes, like, it hurt me, but it's not about me. It's about, like you said, these people that haven't been through this or are going through it.
Yeah.
That there is more to life. And I will tell you the positive things that have come out of this is, number one, first and foremost, is my relationship with God. I go to church every Sunday. I read my Bible 2 or 3 times a day. I pray constantly. Every time I have to make a decision, I pray first. Every single time. I have been connected with people that have been borderline, don't want to live anymore because of what they're going through. People have sent me, I've had countless DMs, and I respond to almost every DM, unless they're like disgusting, then I won't respond to this. But like, but people have shared their stories with me and felt connected with me because of what I've said.
Yeah.
And that is my purpose. It's so God has put me on this new path, and I truly feel currently that I'm where I'm supposed to be. It's to impact other people, to be there. I'm in law school right now because it has set a fire in me that we don't have enough advocates for officers, enough lawyers that actually care. When I met Nicole, that was the first time I felt that somebody cared about not my case, but about me. And, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that lawyers have to care about every single person, right? Like, that's whatever. Everyone becomes a lawyer for different reasons. But when you have, like, I think the hardest part is that people don't realize that your identity as a cop in your career, it devastates you when you lose it or are about to lose it. It is devastating.
Just kind of removes the carpet of purpose in your life.
It does. It's like, because I have a servant's heart. That's my whole life. I've always been like a people pleaser and wanting to, someone tells me their problems and I go to, how can I fix it?
Yeah.
That's how I am. And my time on the job was very, that's how I was. And when I saw a broken person or a victim I needed to help or whatever it was always to help somebody else. That was always my intention, my goal. And I loved serving people. When I became a supervisor, I, was the one that would like protect them. Like, here's all the knowledge that you need to know. Like, I learned, when you were a supervisor, you kind of pick and choose things that you take from supervisors you admire and that you thought were exceptional leaders, and you take those skills and you implement them into the future. And one supervisor I worked for, he would do, because it's a mid-watch, you have that extra time. We would go and I'd set up trainings for them. What do you guys want to learn tomorrow? Oh, I want to learn how to do foot pursuits. Okay, cool. So we would go, instead of doing roll call, we'd go and do foot pursuit training or MACTAC training or building searches or, whatever it was that they wanted to do. I'd spend that extra time with them so they would stay out of trouble. We would do case law. Okay, you guys study a case law and present it tomorrow, whatever it was, But the biggest thing, the whole going back to the disgruntled, like, don't be disgruntled and do your job. I always believe that supervisor, as your responsibility in your job, is to be that line between command staff and your cops. You never bitch and complain to your cops about, oh, like the command staff this and that. You don't badmouth the department ever to them. You keep their morale high and know that I have your back. And I would always tell them this, like, it's probably going to bite me in the ass later down the road, but I would always tell them, call me. Don't ever sweep a potential complaint under the rug. Just call me. Let it fall on me, right? I'll be the one. If and I literally said this. I was like, what are they going to do? Make me a sergeant at Hollywood? What are they going to do? Make me a P2 at 77th? I would always joke. But it turns out they'll fire you. I can laugh about it now. But it's true. So I always believe that your job as a supervisor is to be that line between the bad stuff and your guys. And you show them support, keep their morale high, and motivate them. And keep them out of trouble. Keep them out of trouble. That is your job. And so I took that job very, very seriously because you impact people's careers and their identities.
Yeah, I have a handful of people nudging me to take the damn sergeant's test. I'm fighting it.
Do it.
So it's very interesting. But you are an interesting person to interview because 10 questions you've answered them already. I'm like, all right, I don't have a job here. I'm gonna go hang out with my dog in the bathroom. Oh, there he goes.
So cute.
But something you touched on with like why are you doing these podcasts? Because how many have you done?
I don't know.
More than 5?
More than 5.
10?
Maybe around 10.
Okay. I think I've seen like 2 of them, maybe 3, 2.5.
Some of them are just like audio.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what do you this phenomenon of podcasting that we're all doing?
Yeah.
Who's listening? Who is it helping? Like, is it bringing out a truth? Does it matter with so much going on, right? Because I've heard some podcasts where they name drop these retired cops. They name drop. They're venting now. They're finally free and they're venting.
Yeah.
And in our little world, we'll hear it and we'll hear these names of people they're complaining about, and they're already retired and gone. So who is there? Can we get traction from this to either help officers who are going through it now, or to get better as a department, or just to help each other out, right, on the job?
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, yeah, some people go on the podcast because it's like you said, I'm free now and I'm going to name drop everybody.
Yeah.
And I think has poor intention. That's why I don't like to say any names. Like, people always say, like, just name drop it. Who cares? I don't believe in that, because that defeats the purpose of my message. It's not about bad mouthing a person. And I think it's a little evil. I just think it's vindictive and evil. I think that what you have learned from the bad stuff is the important message here, and that there are different avenues. Like, the answer is not to take your life. The answer is not to get angry. The answer is not to go and blame everybody else for your problems. It's what are you going to do with the cards that you've been dealt with, or that you've been dealt? And that's because it's who you are, who your character is not who you are in the good times. It's who you are in the bad times. And these podcasts, I do them to show people that, I mean, I haven't even told you or touched on half the things that I have felt and gone through in these 4 years. I mean, I've had dark moments. I've had, a lot. But I didn't let that beat me. And some people do. Some people let them, they start drinking. They start, just making bad choices, right? Getting DUIs, getting into more trouble, and just spiraling downhill. And it's important to know that, I seem like, oh yeah, she's good, she's strong, she can handle it, whatever. But I wasn't. Like, I still went through the same stuff that a lot of people went through, right? And it's going to be okay. You have to know who the resources are, who to reach out to, what you're, I think it's also be accountable. Like, understand that, I've read, like I said, I've read complaints where it's like, okay, well, you did something wrong.
Just say, yeah.
Like, you did something wrong. So let's try to fix how you won't be as bad, kind of thing. But but still, I'm here. I've reached out to friends that I've seen in the news where it's like, hey, don't tell me anything, but I just want you to know that I'm here for you if you need to vent. And so I think that's important to have a support system, because without a support system, that's when your head starts to spiral. Without God, those negative thoughts come in your head. And you have to know how to get yourself out of those scenarios. And if you don't, know where the resources are.
You're touching on something else that I experienced where, that support system, for a lot of coppers, their only support system are other coppers.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this culture where if somebody gets in trouble, even in an OIS, the culture is, don't call that person who was accused of a crime. Let's say that, anything shy of really, really bad stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Don't call them, because they might be, now you see them with criminal eyes, and now you can't touch them. Right. Or they're watching me and they're going to blame me for being associated with things like that.
Right.
That's so bad, because that puts, people just in darker places, right?
Right.
So, or even not knowing how to reach out. So,
but it's that culture, like you said, like when somebody's benched or in trouble, the culture of the department is, ooh, they're troublemakers, stay away from them.
Yeah.
And then they become isolated.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
So
it
how do
happens.
you suggest that we all change that individually as we're, as you know?
I think just as an individual, even if you're not in trouble, never been in trouble, I pray to God that you never get in trouble. Like, some of these people that I've spoken to, they'll talk a lot of bad things about people, like, oh, well, they deserve this and that. And I would always follow up, how many times have you gone to a board? How many times have you been in trouble? Well, never.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope it never happens to you. But just remember that if and when that time comes, what it felt like, right?
Mhm.
So I would urge people that these people are human beings. This is a life. You associating with somebody that is a criminal in the eyes of LAPD doesn't mean that that person's a criminal.
Mhm.
LAPD overcharges all the time. All the time. I've seen it. I've seen people that have done things get away with it. I've seen people do nothing and got fired for it. So don't be quick to judge. God hates that. God hates when you judge somebody else. We are all children of God, brothers and sisters. Again, there are certain crimes,
Right.
that,
I don't mean that stuff, but I do think
but
that I don't think anybody has ever got in trouble for reaching out to somebody who was fired for something
never,
that's accused of,
never,
right? So I don't think anybody has,
no. So
So
that's what I don't understand. It's like, what is the fear?
yeah, I mean it's part of the culture, and I think maybe that's something that would be good for people to hear, right?
Yeah.
Just reach
Because
out.
let me tell you, when I was first relieved, the officers on my previous watch when I was a supervisor, they gave me a card for a baby shower card, and they raised $2,000 for me
Oh, nice.
and gave me a card, and I lost it. I mean, I was just forever grateful. It meant more than the money.
Yeah.
It was the thought of, like, you guys thought about me
Right.
and knew, like, I
That's
couldn't.
that support system you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like they weren't afraid. And that gesture meant so much to me. That, I mean, it's these little things. I had this one friend, I am going to name drop him, Matt Stickney. We did supervisor school together. He was part of the Metro FI Keeper that was completely bogus and had the same investigator as mine. Again, I'm not going to name names. But anyways,
I know a couple people involved in that.
he went through hell and back also, and he did nothing wrong. And so he knew firsthand what it was like. Matt Stickney checked on me like almost every week. And it was always that, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? Just checking in. And I'll never forget that because he knows what it's like when people forget about you.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. You get forgotten. It costs nothing to send a text. It costs nothing to just say, how are you? Do you need anything? Like, I might not be able to, because you might have an officer that has no idea what the complaint system is like. Hey, I might not be able to help you, but I'm an ear for you.
Yeah.
If you need to talk, if you need a vent, if you need a cup of coffee, let me know. Those simple gestures go so long.
It seems like a lot of the guys and girls that I know who have been through the process, chewed up and spat out the other side, once they land, they are kind of at peace with the whole thing. And then you compare that to somebody who hasn't been through it, and they're more at guard and anxious about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've gone through it. I didn't even know it was Tuesday was your second board or whatnot.
It's coming up.
Ordered by a judge. It's crazy. Congratulations on this step for you. But given that the identity and purpose of life and what you've been through, and my perspective, somebody who's kind of been through it, you're still going through it, but finding that peace. A few times while we're talking here, you're like, our department, I'm sorry, your department. You kept going back and forth like, wait, it's not. So as far as your professional pride as a police officer, wherever you end up, like where do you land at these days? And are you okay with either correcting yourselves, not saying it's my department anymore, or is that something you're trying to change, or is it when it's natural, does it bother you? You know what I mean?
It feels natural because it was part of my life for so long. And
Yeah.
so it's hard to break that habit where it's like, I'm not an employee there anymore. I'm no longer an LAPD officer. And that part it's hard sometimes. It's still to this day just because it's so habitual. It's been a huge chunk of my life. Um, I just don't, I don't know what it is, why I make that distinction, or like I'm aware of
Yeah.
saying mine or ours or yours, but it's just something that pops in my head, just like, hey, just a reminder, you're not there no more.
Yeah.
So,
I'm usually, when you're talking about this podcast, you're with other coppers too. So
right,
yeah.
right. So it just, I don't know what it is, but it's just, I don't want to act like I don't know what it is. I don't know, just a little bit of
It does feel, when like talking to retired cops or cops who left on purpose, rather, it feels like, the true ones, right? Once a cop, kind of always a cop, because you
yeah,
can't see them in the eyes of not, because you're
right.
trauma bonded, gone through stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's natural. That's why I was like, you don't have to change that, but maybe you want to. I don't want to infringe on
Oh
that,
no,
right?
no,
So
yeah, no. It's just I don't know what it is. It's just that whole like Sarah, remember, like you're not there anymore.
I get it. Yeah.
It's like just
So where is Sarah in 5 years?
oh gosh.
2031.
Well, hopefully I'll be a lawyer.
Okay.
Law school should be done and hopefully pass the bar if I
Yeah.
make it. It's so hard.
Yeah.
But gosh, I don't know. Hopefully a lawyer. You know, God willing. I mean, it's back to your like, do I have peace? Yes. Does it still, stress me out about Tuesday? Of course. Like, I mean, I'd be a liar if I said it didn't.
Of course.
I didn't have stress from it and nerves and all that. But I've been praying so much just to whatever your will is, God.
Mm.
Let that be. Let
So
that be
what
my
happens
will.
if you win the board?
So it's funny because people ask me that all the time, and I don't know
Okay.
because I won't know until I think it happens or doesn't happen. I don't want to be too overly optimistic and think like, yeah, I'm going to get my job back and it's going to be good and make a plan for that. Um, because then I'd feel like I'd be more disappointed.
You're being very safe and worldly. Is a
Yes.
big part of this, or a part of it, kind of like saving your name and who you are?
Yes, of course. It's number one. I, I'm fighting for myself for sure. I didn't it just comes down to I didn't lie about anything.
Right.
And it's like this, like being labeled a liar,
Yeah.
unable to get a job as another cop, right?
Yeah.
That's like
Huge.
huge.
Yeah.
Although I just got my SB2 letter that they decided to send 4 years later for whatever reason, that said they found no serious misconduct. So
Huh.
I get to keep my post, which is great. So I just
Oh.
got that like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you could keep your post even if
Mhm.
that's a big deal. Okay.
That's a big deal. So
Yeah.
I just got that a couple weeks ago. But I had been waiting for that for like 4 years, just to be able to try to maybe apply somewhere else. But I don't know. I don't know. But it's just, trying to be positive, and I think I'll know in that moment if and when it happens
Yeah.
what I would do. Have a lot of good to do,
Yeah.
a lot of good work to do, and if it's not with LAPD anymore, then it's not with LAPD anymore. I do feel I had this old lieutenant, just so funny, a couple weeks ago. She was one of my favorite lieutenants at 77. I don't know if you remember her. She was McAlpine at the time. No, she's Patton. She retired,
Was she there in 05?
probably.
Okay. What was the name?
It was probably Julie McAlpine back then. She would have been, I think, a sergeant. She retired as a lieutenant.
That doesn't
Patton.
ring a bell. But I was just a skinny, bald, quiet P1. So.
She was awesome. And she had reached out on Instagram and she said, like, I think it was after one of the latest podcasts. And she said, think about how many people that you affected because of your story. She's like, when you were just a den sergeant, you only affected your den. And now that you're no longer there, you have a bigger impact on the world.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Like, you're so right about that. I never, you see it through the lens of an LAPD officer and what's in front of you and who you can impact. And then when you take a step out of LAPD and you have a platform of some kind, or just, connections with people,
Yeah.
you can impact more than just the 12 officers that you supervise. You can impact the entire country
Yeah.
of police officers. And I've helped people from Florida. I've helped people from up north. I've helped people in Colorado. There's so in Texas, like just so many different people have reached out to me, and it's true. The people that you can help expand so much more when you're no longer stuck in this little bubble.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
For sure.
It's a really big deal because you realize that it's not just in LAPD, it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere. And people everywhere need you.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband always laughs because he's like, you always find the broken people. You have this like magnet of broken people. And it's like, I do. I really do. And, he's always worried like it's going to take too much of your energy and this and that. And because sometimes I do feel what people feel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like take on their stress. But, and I'm learning how to like deal with that. But because I care about it. I care how badly these people are suffering because I've been there. I know what it's like. And some people are worse off than I am. But I do believe that's God's gift to me is to help find the broken and help heal them. And he always laughs my husband, because he's like, you call everybody your friend and you've met them once. And I always tell him, well, it's funny because I call them my friend because that first time I meet them, I hear their whole life story. So I feel like they're a friend now. So it's just like I have something that God gave me that people feel comfortable sharing their story with me. And I feel like that is my calling. And that's so in 5 years, I have huge dreams. I have huge dreams. And hopefully if half of that dream gets accomplished, I'll be happy. And it's not anything for me. It's for other people. I mean, part of the reason why I want to be a lawyer is to be able to, this is probably really dumb in a business and financial side of it because I'm spending so much money in law school, but I would love to be a resource for officers that don't want to use their league attorney or union attorney, and I can do it pro bono.
Well, I have some ideas that maybe we could talk about or help each other out and network. So,
yeah.
But no matter what happens on Tuesday, you're a strong person. You're very brave for being vulnerable on these platforms in an industry that's very
unforgiving. Yes.
Shit talking ish. I don't know what word I'm trying to use. I'm
filled
sure
with keyboard warriors, Monday morning quarterbacks. Say all the names.
I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of people. I'm sure you are and will be inspirational to your kids and your family. So, I don't like to bring people on to my little tiny platform just to, vent and bitch and moan. I try to find people who are going to be helpful for other cops to listen to.
Right.
So that's why that's why you're here.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here.
Of course.
So on that note, what we do on this podcast is we always end it with a dedication to a fallen officer of the guest's choice. Yeah. So if you want to give a dedication.
So Nick Lee from Hollywood, he was one of my training officers at Hollywood when I was a P1. And that was the first time I experienced a loss of an officer. And he, speaking of that support system, when I first went through my P1 complaint at Hollywood, I'll never forget it because he was the first person I worked with after I found out about my complaint. And he told me, this is going to be a bumpy road for you. He was very honest about the complaint system. And he said, but I got your back, kid. It's like, okay. And he said, call Randy Kwan, he gave me all the lawyers and he was just so supportive. Nick Lee was an awesome person. And when I heard of his death, it was devastating. He was a good person and I think about him frequently. So I would like to dedicate it to Nick Lee.